Boxed comfortably. I stuck to my game plan. My dad put out came up with a great game plan, and we stuck to it the whole fight. I just was staying focused. I was taking it round by round by round, and I won pretty much. I would say give myself 11 out of 12 rounds.
You lost a round? Which round?
I would say the last round, just because I took off. I knew that was winning comfortable, so I just wanted to, stay relaxed and box smart.
You said the key in part was taking the crowd out of the fight, but also taking him out of the fight. Could you feel him start to soften? Could you feel him get resigned that there's nothing I can do with this kid?
Yeah, say that again, sorry.
Did you feel a point where he said, hey, there's nothing I can do?
Yeah. As the fight was going on, I felt him giving up more and more and more. But I didn't want to press. I wanted to stick to my game plan. I knew that I was fighting in his hometown. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to pitch a shutout.
Okay, I thought it was pretty close to a shutout. George, hey, congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you for the opportunity.
Congrats, and we'll do it again. Good victory. Good time.
Congratulations to both of you. But George, while I have you here, there is an automatic rematch clause. It wasn't a close fight, I don't think. Are you going to activate that clause? Okay, it's okay. Are you going to activate that clause?
I'm a warrior. For me, this adversity, I've got to come back and fight this adversity. It's part of the game. I'm not here to protect no zeros, and you're the same. He's not here to protect no zeros. Fight the best, and you know what? Young fighters are doing that. The rest need to do that in this sport, and I give him his time. He got the belts today, and we'll do it again.
I commend you both for that, but you didn't necessarily want that clause. You're glad it's there now. Can you say with absolute certainty that we will be back here, you will exercise that clause, you guys are going to do it again?
Yes, 100%. This is going to make me hungry. This is going to be the adversity that I've had to go through my whole career, my whole life. So I gave him the opportunity, and I'm sure he'll give me the opportunity as champion now.
What do you feel about coming back here?
Of course, I'm not ducking or dodging nobody. Of course, if it makes sense, the people want to see it, the network wants it, then of course I'll do it again. If not, then I'll fight whoever. I'm not ducking or dodging nobody, but everything got to make sense.
Devin, I know you had talked about dealing with the adversity, whether your father was here or not. But be serious with me, man. You're glad he was here, right?
Man, I thank God for it. Every day I would pray to Allah that my dad would come, and he came. I'm happy that we were able to enjoy this moment together. This is a dream come true for both of us, and I'm happy.
I ask you both, again, with all respect, what to each of you was the difference in the fight? Devin?
The difference, what do you mean?
The difference in the fight.
It was me handicapping him of his best attributes. We studied him day in and day out. I knew he wanted to come with the big right hand, overhand. I knew he wanted to come with the hook. So I would feel him bracing for it. I would know when he would throw it, and when he would do it, I would make him miss.
His father said, "Stay away from the brick." That's your right hand. What did you not expect from Devin Haney?
Yeah, look, his timing was just a little bit sharper than mine today, but I felt I landed some really good shots in there as well in exchanges, and he had a great game plan. He implemented the game plan, and it is what it is.
What can you do different to get your belts back, or are we looking at a young prodigy, someone who's going to be a champion in this game for many years to come?
Yeah, look, I've got to go back to the drawing board with my team and implement the game plans that I had in my head. Fortunately, it didn't work to the best of that I wanted to tonight, but I thought I did certain things that were great as well. But all the best from it's his time, and I'll be back to the drawing board, and we'll do it again.
Thank you both for the best, fighting the best. Bill, come here for a second. You started this thing. You were confident enough. To send your kids fighting in bars and pool halls in Tijuana as a teenager. What does this mean to you tonight, especially with all the drama that preceded it?
This means everything. This means everything. Hey, Mauricio, ain't we missing the belt? There should be 2 green ones over here.
You got 2 green. You got 2 green.
We got everything, Mark. And it means everything to me. This guy, I told people what kind of fighter he was. They didn't believe me, and now he showed the world. He came and pitched a shutout on a big stage like this with all the crowd against him, and they were silent. I'm so happy.
We believe you now. I think everybody around here believes you. Are you willing for your son to come back here? I don't know if there's any contractual leeway to come back here and do it all over again.
Of course, Allah knows best. Devin is the boss, and if he says we're coming back, we're coming back. He told me do everything to make this fight happen, right? I don't know if I would have. He said make it happen under any circumstance, and that's what we did.
Hey, man, it's been a pleasure covering all of you.
Devin.
Joe, back to you.
Devin, give them a goal. Up in the ring with both combatants.
All right, we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna go listen to some bits from the post-fight press conference here from Bob Arum, Lou DiBella, George Kambosos, Devin Haney. My colleague Big J is still at the event, probably wrapping up to get out of there if he hasn't left yet. Yeah, listen, you know, it's late night here. What time is it? 2:16 p.m. Excuse me, 2:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've been up awake for about the better part of 18 hours or so. You know, I'm not bitching or complaining or anything, but I am a little off. I didn't get to take my nap. George Kambosos lost unanimous decision. 2 judges had it 116-112, 118-110. Me personally, I gave George Kambosos 2 rounds, round number 2 and round number 12. And Devin Haney himself, as you heard in the post-fight interview, you know, he took round number 12 off. 116-112, too close, but either way, George Kambosos was dominated. And you know what makes it even worse? He was dominated off of one punch, a jab, the jab. And what's the point of a rematch? It's going to be the same thing, maybe even worse. There was supposed to be 50,000 or so there in Australia, in Melbourne. That's what they call it over there. It's spelled Melbourne, but they've been getting on me all week, the Aussies, about me pronouncing it correctly. It's Melbourne, Mike. Once again, on T-Street Controversy with Fight View 360, we cover every single major fight live. I don't even know where to begin. Is Devin Haney boring? I don't find him boring, but that's what I'm getting from social media. Fans are saying he's boring. You know, and the hugging is just, you know, is he fan-friendly TV? Look at that. Here, let me pause it right there. Look at that. Look at that stat. That's kind of an ugly stat for a 12-round fight. Is that not an ugly stat for a 12-round fight? Devin Haney defeats George Kambosos, gains undisputed lightweight championship. Haney outlanded Kambosos Jr. in total 159-100. Landed 159 punches. Now, listen, I like Devin Haney. I said he was going to beat George Kambosos via unanimous decision. And I said he should play it safe. Jab, move, box. This is who Devin Haney is. This is who he's always been during his showbox days. You know, this is who he has been. This is not new. You know, he is a masterclass type of boxer. You know, not too much flash, not too much razzle dazzle. This is who he is. You know, so unfortunately, if you're going to follow him and watch his fights and support his career, this is what you're going to have to deal with. Those stats do seem a little wrong. Let me see if I can find the actual CompuBox numbers. Give me 1 minute. And in the meantime, while I'm looking for the CompuBox numbers, let's listen to the post-fight press conference. Take your time out, by the way. Help me out. Like the video, subscribe. I am T-Street Controversy with Fight View 360. We cover every single major fight live. The links to my social media are down below in the description box. We're going to talk about what's next, what should be next in possible options. But in the meantime, let me see if I can find the actual CompuBox numbers. So I'm going to play the post-fight press conference. Listen in.
Business for almost 60 years, and I've seen fighters get against Haney like he fought tonight. He's never going to beat him.
He can't fight the same way. He won't fight the same way. He'll be better in a rematch. Now, that being promoting, I was being straight. You saw there were 2 great fighters in the ring. The outcome was in doubt going in. Both had a chance to win. And one guy asserted himself using really technical, almost perfect technical prowess. It was so executed a game plan tonight perfectly. Now, that being said, he's got a very good corner. He's a smart kid. He knows he can't win fighting the same fight. You know, you got to make adjustments. You got to. I wasn't sitting there thrilled, but I was impressed. I was impressed with a really young man who fought a nearly perfect fight.
Bob, what did you make of Jason Moloney's
contacted us about the brothers and do the fights and then have to go back to Australia and spend 14 days each in quarantine, which was really tough. They're terrific young men. We're very, very fond of them. And they built up a tremendous following in the United States. That being said, Jason was in with a tough Filipino. These Filipinos are...
Did it go wrong? For joining us, mate. Congratulations on the fight. You did put in a great effort, and when.
This is George. I'm doing multiple things at one time. That's why I'm not showing George. Like, I'm getting the content and everything from Big J. So basically, I don't want my computer to fucking crash. All right, so bear with me. You know, but this is George at the post-fight press conference no more than about 40 or so minutes ago.
As well, you never looked hurt throughout the fight. How did that feel? Because the last couple of rounds you didn't seem to want to engage. Was that frustrating for you? How are you feeling about the fight from an analysis point at this stage?
Yeah, look, I thought I hurt him a few times, but that's his game. He likes to run and move, and if he feels that he's ahead on the scorecards, he'll do his thing. But I'm not going to take away from his night. I've been there before when Lopez did that to me, so I'd be a piece of shit if I'd done that to him. But there is a few things where I thought, you know, they were should have been pulled up. But you know, all the best to him. He's the champion now, from what the judges said, and we'll do it again.
Was there?
Do you agree with the cards?
I felt the fight was very close. You know, from what I've been told, I outlanded him, I outpunched him. You know, you saw the fight, so he had a jab, but there wasn't much else. I think he might have landed one or two right hands, but that's about it. There wasn't really nothing else. So I don't feel, my body does not feel like I've been through a 12-round war like I was with a Lopez fight, because you know we went through it. So
Your face looks like it.
that's just a few marks. But if you jumped in there with me too, you'd be the same. Hey, look, I'm the man in the arena. At the end of the day, I made this happen. If I didn't choose this, you know, to protect records, I could have fought an easy fight, and look at me, I knocked someone out in 2 rounds. But I take the risk, and that's part of the risk. You take risk, you reap reward. But it was his night tonight, and all the best. And you sure that the adversity that I've got to go through now, I'll be back hungrier than ever.
It might be tough to ask this question now, Georgie, but stylistically, have you got thoughts on what you need to change up to beat him in the rematch?
Yeah, I know what I've got to do to beat him in the rematch. We had them game plans. Unfortunately, just we couldn't implement the way we wanted to. The ref did let a few things go as well, which should have been, you know, pulled up a touch. But it is what it is. I'll go back to the drawing board with my team, and congratulations to Devin Haney and his team for the win. You know, they came all the way out here, like I did with Lopez, and you know, they got the win today. But I'll be back.
Do you expect a rematch, and if so, when and where would you like to have it?
As soon as possible. Do it tomorrow if you want. I feel great, so it is what it is, and hopefully by the end of the year, November, we do it again.
100%.
Look, I gave him the shot. No one else was going to give him a shot. You know, there was too much politics involved for him and Lopez and him and Lomachenko. I straight away was a man of my word, and I said, okay, let's just make sure it made sense. Obviously, he's going to want to make sure it makes sense on his end, but let's get it done. You know, and let's give the fans a great fight. Let's fight.
George, where did it go wrong for you, and do you feel you were as sharp as you were against Lopez?
Yeah, look, I was sharp in points. I landed some very good shots. I hurt him a few times. I felt like every time I landed clean, he was hurt. So, you know, he just fought his game off that jab. He just boxed off that jab and did his holding. He did hold a lot. He did get low. Every time I tried to exchange, he held and dropped into that hip. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, but there's no excuses, no excuses.
Did he do anything you didn't expect in there or didn't plan for?
Yeah. Look, I thought he would have fought a little bit more, but he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, he's a good fighter. This is a high level, you know, it was a high level chess match. I tried to make it a little bit more aggressive. He boxed his fight, and the judges had him the winner tonight, and all respect to him and his team. And this is boxing. Like I said, I'm here never to protect the record. I've had a hard journey, as we know. We've been through the hardest journey, I feel, in boxing, and you know, I'll give him his applause tonight. Humble in defeat, and you know, and in victory as well.
George, would you like to fight George, would you like to fight in Sydney, in your hometown, maybe the new stadium?
I think the way they do.
We're going to talk in a minute. Let's let him finish.
This one. I think he'll be back here in Melbourne, but I love Melbourne. Look at the crowd today. Look at the fans behind me, and even after the defeat, they all stood there and you know, were so applauding of the fight. So I love that. I respect that so much, and thank you to the fans and to the media and everybody here today. And you know, I'm very proud to have brought a great fight in Australian boxing.
George, fantastic performance. What would you say to the how this is laying the path for the Australian boxing for the youngsters in the future?
Yeah, look, this is not the end for me. We will get it on again, and I will handle my business next time. But at the end of the day, this is a great thing for young kids, amateurs, aspiring professionals, and I'll continue doing my best. And I'm very proud to have brought a big fight here, and proud to bring another big fight again by the end of the year. And there'll be more to come for these young amateurs, these young professionals, and you know, that's why me and my father have Ferocious Promotions to help these guys. I got to the top. I did get to the top, and I'm still at the top, with or without a belt. I know who I am as a fighter, as a champion, and the belts, you know, don't make me a champion. It's who I am in here, and who I am fighting the best of the best. So this brought Australia together. This brought the Greek community together, and I'm sure this brought the world together as well.
We love you, George.
Thank you. Thank you.
They've been inspirational to kids with your story, your bullying,
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, look, it's an amazing thing. Look, I've come from very humble beginnings where I was bullied and had to fight through that. So I've been through a lot more adversity than just a boxing fight and tasting defeat for the first time tonight. I'm very honoured to have my kids here. You know, I had my two are here, my other one's in the back, they're my baby. So to have them ringside, it means a lot, and I hope the memories for them is you know, something great, and I'm sure they're going to get to see it again, and Dad will be champion again with the belts, but I know ultimately they don't care about that. They care that Dad's happy and safe.
Question for Jim. Jim, did the advice change in the corner throughout the rounds as the fight was going on and George started to go down by a couple of rounds? Did you feel like you had to adjust the game plan, or what were you saying to George in the corners?
Oh, he basically just had to put more pressure on Devin, you know, and he just let Devin get too comfortable all the time. So if you're going to be comfortable with that jab, you know, you're not going to be able to get inside. So, you know, George had to basically just execute what we did at training, and the way we prepared was extremely well. I mean, we had a better camp this time round than what we did with Lopez. But if their game plan was to bank the rounds. And then if you're letting them bank the rounds with that jab and moving, and obviously, you know, there's no excuses at all, but the referee basically, you know, with the holding and stuff like that, you know, usually, you know, you get warned and maybe a point taken off. But when the other fighters, you know, his momentum is always stopped, you know, that there means that George's got to reset. But at that point, Devin's resetting with that jab, you know. So, but look, there was a few mistakes there. We know that, it's evident. I mean, you know, we're
going to finish listening to George in a minute. Let me just let you guys know what's going on. My colleague, Big J, he's at the event. The post-fight press conference is just wrapping up. I'm downloading all of this stuff now, so that's why I'm not showing. I don't want my computer to crash, so that's why I'm not showing the footage right now. I'm going to edit it and upload it to the channel after this live stream. But you should be cool, right, just listening to them. You don't have to see their faces, do you? I mean, I guess you probably want to, but just not right now. Anyway, we're going to talk about the fight, what's next. But in the meantime, let's finish listening to this post-fight press conference. Here I have the punch stats here. Devin Haney, total punches landed was 147. Kambosos 100 throughout the whole fight. Those are very nasty numbers. Okay. The scorecards here, if you don't know, the judges had it, two judges had it 116, 112. Another had it 118, 110. I personally gave George Kambosos round number 2, and then round number 12. Devin Haney admittedly, you know, said he gave up round number 12 to coast a little bit to play it safe. So, but overall, it was domination, and there shouldn't be a rematch, honestly. And as you can hear from George Kambosos, they're going to go after it, and it's just going to it's going to stink. You know, nothing's going to be different. You know, George Kambosos is going to, we're going to talk about it, but let's get through the post-fight press conference first. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe if you haven't. Dropping a like doesn't hurt you is right there. Also in the description box is the links to my social media, my Facebook, my Twitter, you know, my website, FightView360. We're going to be talking about the rankings, Tank Davis, what he's going to be doing next, Ryan Garcia, Vasyl Lomachenko, and Shakur Stevenson. That's something, a fight that can be explored, even though that could possibly be a high-level chess match stinker too, but it would be high level, super high level Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson. Now, you know, the options are limitless if you really, really think about it, unless politics get in the way. But let's get back to the post-fight press conference. Thanks for watching the video, and hey, dropping a like doesn't hurt you. Or don't. Do what you want. I'm tired. Like the video or not, that's up to you. That's your right.
You know, we're professionals, mate. So the thing is, we're going to execute and look at it all. And, you know, George has to start fast. That's what he has to do. He's got to make Devin uncomfortable from the beginning.
Yes, I'm actually going to, I've been working from home for years, you know, so basically boxing is like a hobby for me, you know, even though I do spend a lot of time covering boxing, but it's not necessarily a career. It's a venture, a hobby. So basically what I'm saying is, I've been up for about a good 18, 19 hours or so. And what's going to happen is on Tuesday, the next major fight is on a Tuesday because it's going to be in Japan. And because of the time difference at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 in the morning, on Tuesday, June the 7th, I'm going to be here covering another significant fight, doing a live stream during the main event between Naoya Inoue, the IBF and WBA Super and Ring Magazine champion at 118 pounds, taking on the Filipino Flash legendary Nonito Donaire, WBC champion, multi-division champion, for a 3-belt unification. That's going to be at 5:30 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday. So just bear with me; it's a little late, you know. But we're gonna muscle through this post-fight show. Let's go back to the post-fight press conference. This is George Kambosos speaking, and basically he's saying he wants to come back and the pretty much tell you what's been going on. He wants to come back in November or so for the rematch, and he pretty much said that the fight was a lot closer, and his father's, you know, blaming Devin Haney's hugging. He's saying no excuses, but then they're saying, you know, the holding was a little bit too excessive. You know, average shit. And then George Kambosos saying, well, you know, he only landed about 2-3 good right hands in the fight. That is true. But at the end of the day, it is kind of bad that he beat you off the jab. Devin Haney won based off the jab. And according to the poll I put on the channel, basically simple poll at the top of the chat on the YouTube live stream is, do you want to see Haney versus Kambosos 2? Yes, 16%. An astounding 76% says no, and 8% says depends. And that's 196 votes, and there's 250 people watching right now. So, you know, I don't want to see the rematch unless George Kambosos fights an interim fight, maybe 2-3, and does something dynamic. You know, I don't really want to see it because he had the wrong game plan. He went in there trying to outbox a well-known and established defensive boxing wizard. He was supposed to be ferocious in there. I'm disappointed in George Kambosos. I thought he was gonna go out there and try to take it to Devin Haney. You know, he was out there trying to box, swinging and twirling all around and shit. You know. Just eating the jab, full diet of jab. Is that keto?
Let him bank the rounds, and then you're playing catch up. So George, actually in the 6th round, he started to roll, and he was very comfortable, and you can see he was starting to land. But you're playing catch up. It's as simple as that. So some of the shots weren't as sweet, but that's the name of the game.
Yeah, what I want to say too, he could have taken a much easier route.
Easily,
There was a lot of money on the table just to fight anyone, and didn't have to go. Could have gone into the 22,000 seat indoor arena and sold it out, basically fighting anyone. And frankly, that's what most fighters do. He fought this for personal legacy, he also fought it for the good of boxing. And lastly, and I really mean this, he fought it for the good of Australian boxing. He believed that this country deserved a stadium fight with a great champion defending against the best available contender. When Loma went back to Ukraine to defend his country, he didn't make it an option for me to get anybody else. He said, you go make a fight with Haney, you do what you have to do to go make a fight with Haney. And I'm not going to tell you that I didn't say, are you sure about that? Because I did. But he wanted that not only for himself, he thought it was right for the sport, because the best need to fight the best. That's how we elevate our sport. But he also has a vision for the future of boxing in this country. You have a lot of up-and-coming young talent here. Boxing in this country has never been stronger than it is right now. And George making that decision to fight the best in a stadium here, draw 42,000 people, who I think came in and had a great time today. Applaud this man because he's a great champion.
And that goes down to my confidence as well. We fight tomorrow. I'm going to beat him tomorrow. So that goes down to my belief in myself. And nothing changes. We will change game plans again, and we'll make go back to the drawing board. But my confidence will always be at a sky high, and that's who I am as a person, as a fighter. And I think we all need to be confident in anything we do in life. So, it is what it is. That's the sport. Tennis players, soccer teams, rugby league teams, AFL teams, they lose, they win, they bounce back, and they win the championship at the end. So it's not about where you finish, it's about your next steps. This is not the end for me.
And not only that, it's the lightweight division, it's the hottest division. So if you have a look what it's done in the past, you've had Lomachenko, the champ, he went out and chased Lopez for that last belt. Lopez beats him. George Kambosos has been the mandatory unknown Australian in New York. He beats Lopez. Devin Haney comes down here, and that's great for boxing because you get champions constantly ticking over. You don't have got that one champ. So, it's great for boxing. The lightweight division is the best division at the moment, and we get another opportunity at the end of the year with a rematch clause in Victoria. And I think this time round, we just have to execute a little bit better and just give him a bit of a head start. We've got to start fast.
Stephen Cordina, KOR Sports. Congratulations, man, on putting on this incredible event here. It's because of you that we're all here. Looking at the jab and how that just was able to kind of neutralize, is it maybe footwork you got to work on to get into to move it, head movement? What is it that you were lacking that he was able to land it?
I think when I started to apply the pressure in certain points of the fight, we saw how uncomfortable he was. I try to bank on my counter punch because, as we know, I'm very destructive as a counter puncher as well. But he just worked that jab, better than what I did with my jab, and got off a few times when I should have, put the pace a little bit more. But we saw when I started putting the pace, he was in a point where he would hold, hitting with good shots, and I thought I was never hurt in the fight, not once. He was hurt, I feel, multiple times to the body and with some good shots to the head as well. But that's what it's about. He boxed well. He used what he had to do to win the fight, and it is what it is. He got the win tonight, and I'm sure I'll bounce back.
Thank you.
Question for Lou and Paul. Who impressed you guys based on the undercard?
Jason, this was Jason's night on the undercard. Honestly, for me, he's his promoter, but I've always been a fan of Jason. But tonight, I thought he put everything together. I thought it was the best performance of his career.
Yeah, Jason and his brother, because they've, particularly during the pandemic, fought so often in the States. He's almost regarded as both of them regarded as American fighters because they fight so often on ESPN, and they're very, very popular.
One last thing. I'm a big proponent of women's boxing, and that's been a sort of a cause for me over recent years. Tyler Robertson is a good little fighter. I expect her to eventually win a world championship. I thought she impressed me tonight.
Lou and Bob, if say for some reason Haney decides to vacate, which could be a possibility, what would happen then? Would George automatically fight for a title next up?
Well, nothing's automatic, but if he moved up in weight, for example, which I don't think he's going to stay around at 135 much longer, frankly, but if he moved up in weight, for example, titles would vacate, the likelihood would be George would fight the biggest fight that could be made for a vacant title. And that probably, if he, God willing, the people of the Ukraine are are rescued from the carnage that's ripping them apart right now. That fucking madman Putin, is forced to stand down, and Loma gets out of there. Loma and George would be enormous.
Yeah, and I've got to give respect as well to Vasily Lomachenko as well, because obviously, as we know, he was the first choice originally, and obviously Devin was there as well. And what he's doing is much bigger than what we're doing here today. So if that is the case, then I would welcome that fight with open arms. But let's hope Devin, as I gave him a shot, he stays at 135 and we do it again, because I've got to get that back now. I have to.
That's, glad George said that, because this has all been a bittersweet time for me, because I am so fond of Lomachenko. Vasily is one of the best advertisements for the sport of boxing. For him to turn down this fight in order to fight for his country, where he didn't have to do it because the Minister of Culture in Ukraine gave him permission to come out and do this fight, and he refused because he felt that his duty was to defend his country. You got to give him all the props in the world, and lose categorization of what's happening and who's to blame for what's happening is dead on. I mean, Mr. Putin is a disgrace to humanity.
Don't bring politics into boxing.
What?
That's not politics, brother.
That isn't politics, right? You don't.
That's humanity, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, guys. Final question for George or Jimmy.
Actually, that guy said about my face too. So I know you're not very liked at the moment, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
We're good. All right.
We're good.
How much are you looking forward to bouncing back better, bigger and better, mate?
Yeah, look, I've been through the adversities many times, so sometimes, look, true champions bounce back. The greats, Muhammad Ali's, my idol, Duran, all these guys bounce back, and that's what makes their legacy. So this is what's written for me today. Then I will bounce back hungrier than ever, and that's what it's about. The best fighting the best. So
the greatest beauty of boxing is not the fact that people get knocked down; it's that they get up.
Yes,
right.
And it's what you do when you get up.
And I was knocked down.
And George Kambosos will get up. He's already up.
I was knocked down by Teofimo. I got up and won them championships, and today, obviously, I was not knocked down in the ring. I never really hurt, but in defeat, yes, I'm knocked down, and I will bounce back. And thank you to the country, everybody here in Melbourne, the media, the whole of America. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Bob. My team, obviously, my father co-manager Jim Kambosos, my other co-manager Peter Khan, and ultimately, no one believed in us for a very long time. We had to prove that to win these championships on overseas, and again they're going to doubt us, but that probably just lit up the flame even more. So I'll be back.
And I think you
thank you, everybody.
I think your two beautiful kids, they're going to remind you about Daddy didn't bring that belt home, because they did tell you, Daddy, go and get that belt. So I know that you don't need that motivation, but that was so beautiful when your two kids said that in the dressing room before you walked out. So that there is just going to give you a little bit more when this thing gets around, and depending who it is. And let's see who it is at the end of the year. If he vacates, well, then we can talk business again and see where we're at. But definitely Australia. That's right, Lou? Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
All right, well, we learned a lot right there. My colleague Big J is going to be calling in about 5 minutes or so. He predicted that George Kambosos was going to knock Devin Haney out in 9. So y'all got to give him some shit. I don't want to see the rematch. I don't think that George Kambosos can beat Devin Haney 1 out of 10 times. He's just better than him. He beat him off the jab, 1 punch. Now, if Devin Haney was to move up, then there's no rematch clause. He can fight whoever he wants. But for some reason, I don't think he's going to move up. But if they do go ahead and push through with Devin Haney versus George Kambosos 2, it'll be on ESPN. They're going to put it on pay-per-view again over there for you guys. It was $60 over on main event pay-per-view over in Australia. Here for us, it was on regular ESPN. But obviously, it would have to be a smaller venue because you can't expect for 50,000, 5,000 plus. I haven't got the official number. Anyone know the official number for attendance? You know, for a 118, 110 type of performance, a 10 rounds to 2 type of performance. 2 judges had a 116, 112. George Kambosos was trying to outbox Devin Haney, and it just didn't work. Now, he did acknowledge that he had to go come up with a different game plan, but Devin Haney's just going to get better. And as I was saying earlier, this is who Devin Haney is. He's always been this fighter. So as far as George Kambosos is concerned, listen, he's just going to take another L. And how did he beat Teofimo Lopez? You know, hey. You know, it is what it is. It wasn't 55,000 in there. Really? Are you just posting stuff? Let me see what Big J's doing. We're going to listen to him. He was at the fight, by the way. So shout out to him. He's been covering the whole fight week, taking a billion pictures. Let's see what he has to say about the fight. Straight from Australia. By the way, take your time out. Like the video. Subscribe. So what's going on, man? What you think about the fight? Well, what's going on now? Are you on the way out of there?
Yeah, mate, I'm on the train heading back to me home, back to Geelong. So, yeah, everything's cleared out, mate. Yeah, it wasn't a good fight overall. I mean, even though Devin used the jab, it wasn't a very exciting fight. So, it was a typical Devin Haney fight. Low-key, lackluster, and he used the jab, and he outskilled his opponent with no real finesse. So, he did enough to win. Like, he completely neutralised George, but bar that, it wasn't really that great of a fight. So, unfortunately for us,
what's your thought on the rematch?
There's a lot of disappointers. Oh, well, the rematch has got to happen. George has got to completely change his game to, do what he did against Lopez, and he'll be right. But, yeah, I dare say the talk was at the post-fight press conference that George would be crazy not to invoke the rematch because, as you said, there's too many belts on the line, there's too much on the line not to do it, because if he doesn't do it, he goes all the way back to the end of the line. But if Devin moves up, then George will probably face probably Lomachenko or Tank. So I forgot to mention Tank. No one actually mentioned Tank at the post-fight press conference. Nobody, which I found surprising. But 90% of the questions were, how do you feel, and what about the rematch? That was pretty much the nuts and guts of the post-fight press conference, both of them. So there were separate ones, one for George, one for Devin.
So what do people feel? I'm guessing, the crowd looked pretty deflated. I'm going to say from around 6 on. It seemed really quiet in there compared to what it was earlier in the fight, earlier in the night.
It was. The crowd was really deflated. There were only glimpses when the crowd actually got there, and there was about 41,000. It wasn't a sellout. Don't by any stretch state it was a sellout. It wasn't. I think it was about 41,000 there, which is still a bloody decent crowd.
Yeah.
But compared to Paul and Pacquiao, it didn't even come close. So for crowd-wise, but still, bar the main event, the undercard was brilliant. How good was Lucas Browne? Well, I told you something was going to happen.
Yeah,
well,
we had already knew somebody was going to get knocked out, but the feel from the people you've interacted with at the post-fight press conference, do people do you feel, and did you get the sense from others that Kambosos can make any adjustments in the rematch?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So okay, well, let me get to the nitty-gritty then. Do you feel that Kambosos can beat Devin Haney in a rematch?
Yeah, because all he had to do was because he was so, like you said before, he was punch shy. He didn't go after him. If you go after Devin, I reckon he'll slaughter him. He didn't go after him. He sat back and waited. He was just trying to draw him into the trap and counter him. That's what he was trying to do the entire fight. We're like, what is George doing? We're all sitting there looking at each other going, what is he doing? Just get in there and punch his idiot. So, but he just kept eating those jabs, and that's all Haney had. He had a jab all night. He didn't have any combos or anything else. All he did was just jab him. boxing 101 was just jab, 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 and George just kept eating them.
So
George didn't.
So the fact that
George didn't use his jab either.
So the fact that Devin Haney defeated George Kambosos with just a jab, you feel that he can beat Devin Haney in a rematch?
Yeah, well, it was because he had an off night. It happens in boxing. He's like, he got completely neutralized because he didn't. It's like you said, his game plan was completely wrong. If he did exactly what he did against T.O., he'll be fine. But then he's got to prove it. So it's like, I mean, I want to see the rematch because I think George deserves another crack at it. It's as simple as that. So, I mean, how many times have, boxers been knocked out, come back and won the rematch? It's happened plenty of times. Boxers been defeated and they come back and win. So that happens plenty of times. I mean, yeah, George needs to completely change his game plan and go back to being tenacious and ferocious, being basically what he did to get him at the top in the first place. That's what he needs to do. So, because bar that jab, Haney didn't have much going for him. So, but he was smart. I mean, he didn't throw any combos, no big punches. So yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, listen, I'm going to be very honest. He's going to get his face jabbed off again in the rematch. I don't want to see the rematch. Fans don't want to see the rematch. We did a poll here. We got 76% saying no.
And how many of them were Australians?
Yeah, well, we'll see, but at the same time, no disrespect to the Australians. Y'all put Paul Gallen on your pay-per-views and Tim Zoo. So you guys over there, y'all watch anything. And it looks like you don't pay for anything as well. But
that is perfectly true. That is perfectly true.
Yeah,
I mean, we needed George to win this. Yeah, we needed George to win this to cement. We actually got a proper boxer on top. So, but anyway, it is what it is, and I hate using that term of phrase. But I want to see the rematch to see if George can actually change it up.
So where does the rematch happen? Because obviously they can't do a stadium no more. The buzz is not going to be there.
They're talking about, well, if they don't do it I think they'll probably do it in Melbourne again. And there's High Sense Arena, which holds about 10 to 15,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about Brisbane, Sydney, or obviously Melbourne. So in November, if they do it in November, remember football season's over, so there's no competition from football season, which means people will go to it just for the sake of it. Because remember, they had an AFL game across the road in Richmond, which is only 5 Ks down the road, and 60,000 people went to that.
Yeah.
So with no competition and another big fight with the Australian fighting, lots of people are going to go to it. Especially if they do it in another state. They do it in Queensland, they'll just pack the place out. So, because as you said 5 minutes ago, we'll watch anything. So,
and that's just fucked up. But hey, I'm gonna let you go because we got to listen to Devin Haney at the post-fight press conference. And thank you for everything you've done. Shout out to Main Event. Shout out to Top Rank. Shout out to Duco. Closing thoughts before you go.
Disappointing day for George, but he'll bounce back, and if he can, this will be his real testament. If he can bounce back and win, that's a sign of a true champion. Because the last thing I want him to be is a one-hit wonder. So, he's got to prove in the ring. But besides that, the undercard was great. What your thoughts on the undercard? I thought it was great undercard.
I mean, the undercard here. Well, for one, I didn't get a chance to see the undercard because Top Rank only showed 2 fights. ESPN here only showed 2 fights, and basically it was a bunch of filler. So as far as Lucas Browne, that was impressive. And as far as Jason Moloney, knocking out Aston Palicte, that was also, impressive. But I haven't seen anything, else. So, I will get a chance to check out. Go ahead.
Andrew Moloney won via TKO. I'm not quite sure what round, but he won via TKO.
Mm-hmm.
So both the Moloney twins got up by knockout.
Okay.
So,
well, all right, Big J, I gotta let you go because we're running short on time. I'll catch up with you later on. I don't want to see that motherfucking rematch again. I mean, hey, listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. Doesn't mean we always have to agree. So listen, and he already told you, Australians, they'll watch anything. So if they're if they're clamoring at the bit to see George Kambosos get his face jabbed off again, maybe even worse, then more power to them, if they want to throw their money away. But here's the thing. I would love to see Devin Haney versus a Lomachenko, a Devin Haney versus a Shakur Stevenson. But those are fights that can happen in-house, politically, because he's the top ring fighter. But if he vacates those belts, then he goes up to 140, maybe Teofimo, maybe Josh Taylor. But something's telling me in my gut that this rematch is going to happen and Devin Haney is not going to vacate because they want to try to make him versus Lomachenko on pay-per-view. But yes, I don't agree with Big J. I'm sorry. I don't agree. Just saying that. He's my homie, my friend, but, my colleague, but I don't agree with him. Let's go listen to the Devin Haney at the post-fight press conference. Once again, take your time out. Like the video, subscribe, and teach new controversy with 5v360. Let's see what they have to say. They're still talking.
See the
there has to be some doubt about the outcome of a fight. Otherwise, it's not a fight, it's a beatdown. So, I don't mind the 4-belt era if the best fight the best, but too often they don't.
Yeah, I remember signing a fighter who had multiple belts from Scotland, Josh Taylor, good fighter. And the first thing I had to confront was an IBF mandatory against some Thai guy who we paid an enormous amount of money to do the fight, and Josh knocked the Thai guy out in 35 seconds. Now, what is that? That's really a fraud on everybody. So I'm not a big fan of fighters having multiple belts at the same weight.
Were you surprised at all by Lucas Browne and Junior Farr today?
Well, first of all, the second punch, I want to say this because I'm not taking anything away from Lucas. They're ready?
He's on his way now.
Okay.
Hi. Back to women's boxing. I was just wondering.
Weight champion of the world.
Wait. Hold on. Let me get you the video. I think we're cool. I think we're downloaded. We're uploaded. All right, hold on. Let me get you the video. Where we at? Give me 1 minute. Oh, I thought I had it. Done. Hold on. But yeah, man, listen. Oh, here we go. All right. It's not done yet. I'm going to try to. It's not downloaded yet. Hold on.
People in Australia that came out in general.
Hold on, give me 1 minute.
For this opportunity, a lot of these guys at the top, they wouldn't give me my shot. I've been begging for my shot for a long time now, and I finally got my shot, and I got a lot of jury here.
Devin, it's amazing what you've done here tonight. It was an incredible show. Thank you so much for coming out and putting on that performance. You got a lot of hardware, and most importantly, you got your father next to you, which was a wonderful thing to see happen. How important was that for you in your corners during the fight?
Yeah, more importantly, more than anything, more than the belts or anything, I wanted to go in the war with my father. Whether it was for 1 belt, 2 belts, however many belts, it was more important for my dad to be there, and it was a blessing that he was able to come in the day before the fight. So it was a hell of an experience. I'm happy that me and him accomplished this together. We've talked about this since we was 8-9 years old. So this is a dream come true for the both of us.
How difficult was it to keep George off you? You did have a lot of success with the jab all throughout the fight. How difficult was it to keep him off you? Because he does fight at a high pace and he does throw pretty quick.
I wouldn't say it was hard to keep him off of me. Honestly, I just was staying relaxed. I could have picked it up, but I just wanted to. I knew that I was you know, in his backyard. So I just wanted to stay smart and fight my fight. So it really wasn't. It was more like when I wanted to fight, I was fighting at my rhythm and taking away his best attributes, and that's what I did. I wouldn't say that he had anything that was like, he never showed that he was like on me. So for you to say, oh, to keep him off of you, that's like kind of like left field.
Devin, you're obviously a big 135-pounder. Do you think you'll stay and defend these belts, or is going up a consideration as well?
I mean, I got to talk with my dad, Bob, Top Rank, and see what's next, what makes the most sense.
George didn't make the weight.
Yeah.
Is he gonna make the weight?
But you know, at the end of the day, I'm a disciplined fighter, and but everything got to make sense. At the end of the day, this is a business. But you know, the world knows me, and they know my character, and I'm not ducking or dodging nobody. But everything got to make sense. I am a huge 135-pounder, but I want to give my nutritionist James Lockwood his flowers, because I hired him in the beginning of camp, and he made the weight cut so easy. I wouldn't even say it's a weight cut, because we just landed the plane perfectly. Like, it wasn't like I didn't have to use a sauna suit or a sauna. Normally I would use like the sauna suit, the bath. I didn't have to do none of that. We just worked out, ate healthy, and yeah. So thank you, James, for making this camp super easy for me.
Stylistically, Devin, it seems like your style is, you know, something that George is going to struggle with unless he was to change something drastically. Do you think there's anything that George can throw at you that would help him win a rematch?
I mean, what kind of question is that? Like, you know, like let me word
it differently.
What would I say? Oh yeah, he could, if he does this, he could win the rematch. Like, come on now. No, there's nothing that he could do to you know, you could maybe have success better in a rematch, but win, that's like left field once again. But he, at the end of the day, you know, he has to go back to the drawing board and, you know, make adjustments. I can't really say what exactly, because anything that he does, I'm gonna be prepared for. Like I said before the fight, he was saying a lot, but I said I will handicap him of his best attributes, and that's what I did. He really didn't land any clean, solid shots, and yeah. And if you look at my face right here, obviously we all know that my cut band couldn't make it in. He got stuck at customs, and I had to get a replacement, which, you know, I appreciate him coming in and stepping in, but I didn't have an in-swell. Watch the whole fight. I never had an in-swell the whole fight, which, you know, I make no excuses, but, you know, we were headbutting, and but that's what caused this swelling on my eye.
What was it like coming out to such animosity from the entire crowd? They were pretty vocal in being against you. How did that feel?
Yeah, it didn't feel that bad. Like I said, when I first came out, they were kind of booing me, but they were cheering. I was hearing cheers and boos at the same time. So it was a hell of an experience. It was like crazy, but I silenced the crowd pretty much. I didn't really hear the crowd too much. Like maybe when I had tripped, they had went crazy. Excuse me, but other than that, it was crazy. The fans were crazy. Hell of an experience, and a dream come true of mine.
Devin, congratulations on your win, mate. Where do you think this puts you in the pound for pound rankings now that you're undisputed lightweight champion?
I mean, I gotta be you know, high up on the pound for pound list, because if you think about it, they said the lightweight division was the best division in boxing. They said it over and over. 4 young kings, this, that, but there is only one top guy in the lightweight division. There is no more dispute, no more whatever. No matter if you like it or not, you can. I'm still
witness your son become undisputed champion, and welcome to the country, mate.
Oh, it's amazing, man. God is good. God is the greatest. I didn't think that I was going to make it. Dev, he went and signed some things. Lou helped out Bob. It was a team effort. You know, to make this event happen. As a collective, you know, the Kambosos' team, Peter Khan, they did a tremendous job working behind the scenes to make this thing happen, and we're truly grateful.
Question for both Bill and Devin back here. So it's Marcos. First for Bill, how good does it make you feel? How emotional was it to be able to see your son make his dream come true?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like a dream come true. It's still kind of surreal in the sense of this is something that Devin started, a journey he started when he was 8 years old. And to have all the belts right here, you know what I mean? I think, it probably won't sit in until tomorrow or something.
And for Devin, I know you got a lot of criticism. You kind of mentioned it about the belts and how you got it. How much of a validation is this for you to kind of look at those people and just stick your middle finger at them and say, look, I proved you guys wrong?
Yeah, I mean, this is very this is a great feeling that everybody that you cannot dispute any title. What it comes after everything that I have here. So this is a dream come true, and I couldn't thank God enough for this. And yeah.
Devin, if George wants a rematch here back in Melbourne or Sydney, Brisbane, if he wanted that, he was able.
Up to Bob, my dad, and before the fight, he told me, it got to make sense, and we did. I made sure me and my team made sure that we did everything that to make sense. Whether I had to take less money, whether we had to travel, whether I had to come without my dad. We made a lot of sacrifices to make the fight happen, and it all paid off.
Devin, what about Loma? Is he on your horizon? Is he someone that you want?
They're all on my hit list still. With me being the top guy, I'm still.
This question is for Devin. How does it feel to be undisputed?
I mean, it's honest for many years. And I always thought damn, I'm gonna cry, undisputed, I'm gonna cry. But it's a blessing, and thank you to the Victorian government to make this happen. Thank you Lou, thank you Bob, thank you to my lawyer John, thank you to Top Rank's lawyer, thank you to everybody that did everything to make this happen. I'm thankful.
Devin, Mohammed Mubarak with EURweb.com.
Okay.
Tell us how historic this fight could be to you in your soul.
Yeah, I mean, I said, a young kid gonna come up and he's gonna be looking at this fight, and he's gonna have to go across the pond wherever, and that's coming up, whatever. That to bet on yourself, because that's truly what I did. I trusted in my skill, went down under, as you guys would say, and bit down and got it done. So I.
1 to 10. How great is this fight for you?
10, 12, 13, 14, 20. Yeah, this is huge. This is huge. This is huge for me, and man, it's crazy because the world was saying so much about me, but my team believed in me. I believed in myself. I came up here with a group of soldiers that was ready to go to war by any means. Many things was happening, going on every day was something new. But my team,
and a lot of people were sitting out there going, "Oh, he's disadvantaged and he's going to get screwed and whatever." Yes. He came here believing he was going to be a champion. And by the way, you also manifest your own destiny a little bit. I believe in karma. I mean, I don't think it's an accident that his dad's sitting next to him right now.
Yeah.
He didn't know till Friday night that his dad was going to get him.
You gave me the call, Lou. Tell the truth.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
He didn't know till I called him.
Yeah.
And that's unbelievable. And the fact that I really believe karma had a lot to do with it. This young guy over here.
It happened if it wasn't for Lou. So that's why, as we go on.
I'm just so taken back.
What did she say? We're short on time, and gotta be honest, I'm exhausted. So what we've gathered is, here's the thing. Those belts are very valuable to not only the fighters, but the promoters and the networks, because, if you've seen the Avengers, you know how Thanos had to collect the stones and he was able to, control the universe and all kind of shit, snapping people away and zapping all over the place. Those belts control all the politics in the division. That means the fighters, if they want a championship between 130 and 135, they have to come to you. And I'm pretty sure that the network, the promoter, his manager, and his father, they all know this. But at what cost to keep that power? Because you have the belt, you have all those belts, you are the king. You're the king. But can his body stay at 135 pounds? And, you know, if he's going to reign at 135 pounds and try to go after the big money, like a fight between Ryan Garcia or a fight between Tank Davis, I understand the political divide, but nonetheless, unless those guys want to drain themselves back down to 130 or go up to 140 where they don't belong, then they got to see Devin Haney at 135. But it looks like Devin Haney is going to have to get through George Kambosos again. And George Kambosos is in a situation where he don't have nowhere else to go, because if he chooses not to invoke that rematch clause, then it's going to be like, you were scared, you knew he was going to get beat up again. But also, he goes to the back of the line. He too would have to move up to 140 pounds. So basically, Devin Haney would possibly chase everybody away. Now, the Lomachenko fight is very intriguing, because there you would have a super high-level chess match. And I like Devin Haney, but I would pick Loma, despite the fact that Loma does have 2 losses on his resume. Orlando Salido and Teofimo Lopez. But Devin Haney doesn't fight that type of style that gives him problems. You know, if you try to box Lomachenko on a high level, I'm going to pick him. You know, but if you go out there with a game plan like Teofimo, like when he was hitting him, punching him so hard to the body, it was lifting him off of his feet. And then, yeah, you're right. You know, or fans that brought it up, that's somewhat relevant today, you know, and that the reason why George Kambosos called Devin Haney a rat. Teofimo had some problems outside the ring. And not to mention all that crap that was going on with Triller rescheduling the fight. So before we go, here are the major players in the 135-pound division. You know, this is the guy we want to see, let's be honest. But with his promotional situation, yeah, his pay-per-view against Rolly is rumored to have done, you know, between 250 to 275,000 pay-per-view buys. People on YouTube are just straight up lying, saying the shit did 500,000 and all. Nah. Anyway. But his promotional situation, people don't talk about Tank outside of him being an attraction for himself. They don't talk about him versus, you know, the guys that we would want to see, because, you know, people don't think that he's going to be allowed to. That's just unfortunately the way Tank is looked at. You know, like fans like Tank Davis, it's clear hardcore fans, because they support and watch his fights, whether they stream him or not, or buy him. It's just that they be like, Floyd and PBC, they ain't gonna let him fight such and such. That's the story of Tank Davis. It's unfortunate, you know, but as long as he keeps fighting these in-house fights, and you have Leonard Ellaby telling us, listen, we not, you know, we making money. It's true, but we're not getting the fights we want to see. This guy right here, I'm not a fan of Ryan Garcia. It's just too much talk, nothing there, and he's going to be protected. He's going to be protected. You know, him and Tank Davis ain't going to happen, because it would have to happen on Showtime, and DAZN is putting a lot of money into him. It ain't happening. This fight right here, Lomachenko's off at war doing something. He's on some type of duty. He's not actually out there in the trenches, you know, from what I understand. But either way, he's away, and really, we don't know when he's coming back. But that's the fight that they're trying to go after. And he's been given permission from his government to be able to go fight. But he was like, nah, it'll be fucked up. I want to fight for my country or serve my country. You have this fight right here in the top-ranked stable, because Devin Haney is now a top-ranked fighter. I would love to see that fight. I would love to see that fight. This would be some chess match type shit too. Fans would call it boring. The replay value may be low, but I would love to see it. Like, for example, the replay value for Kambosos versus Haney, that's low. So imagine, like, the appeal for the rematch is not going to be there. He got outboxed. And he got beat by a jab, ladies and gentlemen. A jab, one punch. That's a bad look. I'm getting up out of here, man. I'm T-Street Controversy with Fight View 360. We cover every single major fight live. Follow me on Twitter at T-Street Controversy. The link to my link tree is right down below. Also in the description box is literally right there. You know, people ask me all the time, you know, what's your Twitter? And I'm like, yo, it's right down there in the description box. I got to go take a nap and then get up and start chopping and editing these videos all up. So in the meantime, thanks for watching. I'm going to be back on Tuesday morning, June the 7th for ESPN Plus and Noye versus Donaire 2. It's because it's in Japan and the time difference and everything. I'm going to be streaming during that main event. So if you can drop a like before you bounce, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. See you guys later.